And hello all, it is I, the HeroScaper, here for what I believe will be another awesome creator spotlight. Coming to my corner of the internet, we have Rowan and Adam from the Hexhalla YouTube channel, which is a husband and wife team who recently started making escape content. And honestly, let me just say I'm excited to have you all here. I just love your work.
Yeah, thanks for having us. We've loved your content when we were doing kind of the first foray into getting back into HeroScape and seeing who else was out there. We stumbled upon your channel, and yeah, we liked what you were putting out. So here we are, kind of.
So tell me about your channel. Like, what is exactly Hexhalla about? What kind of videos do you all make?
So the purpose of the channel was we were kind of looking out at the HeroScape content, and we like HeroScape. It's a great game. I feel like it's a difficult game to watch and be entertained by necessarily, and that there's a couple technical problems that I kind of like the problem solving, right? And that's constantly what I'm trying to do, is problem solve for the content of HeroScape, because the game overall is relatively simple. There's a few rules, right, that you kind of have to know, but how do you convey those rules to the audience in a way that makes sense? Because originally our idea was for it to be more of an educational channel of this is how you play, this like examples and stuff. But
kind of as we got going, and we put out the very first channel, which was like the Jandar versus Ular. I think that was the very first video that we put up. 2,
4.
Oh, come on.
I'm gonna go first. I'm gonna beat your butt.
You wish. And seeing the feedback, because I know Tales of Valhalla saw it the day that we put it up. And hearing, kind of what he had to say about it, talking about very specifically the commentary interjections, which I have liked to call cooking show clips.
Hi, Legolas.
Goodbye, you're useless and stupid.
That was devastating.
That was incredible. But hearing that kind of feedback, it kind of transformed for us into doing more of an entertainment. What would I want to watch if I was looking for HeroScape? In a couple of months, there are going to be people who are going to be looking up HeroScape on YouTube. What is the content that I would watch that would make me want to play the game? And that's kind of, I think, really where we are and what has been the goal of it.
So the big question is, out of the dozens of different and definitely more popular games out there, why choose HeroScape? Kind of what's your background with this game, or your kind of a first initial exposures to this?
So I grew up playing HeroScape. I started playing HeroScape around 5, 6, 7. It was a family affair. 8 people around the kitchen table, maps this high up off the ground, because my father owned basically all the terrain in existence at that point. And for me, that's how I started. I stopped playing when I was younger, because once you start becoming a teenager, you start doing things with your life. And when I moved out and got married, it was one of the things that I was actively seeking out. I wanted to have this thing back from my childhood because I knew I loved it. So when somebody walked in to sell just a whole bunch of miscellaneous HeroScape stuff at the game store I was working at, I was like, Adam, no questions, you're buying it.
And largely for me, I was the person around the kind of the table there playing HeroScape. So some of my first memories are actually with playing Rowan and the game of HeroScape. And also now that I know more about the game, because we would just kind of cursory play, right? And
there were very young children involved in playing the game. The rules were very, very lax.
So there's and even now, there's some, I'm very appreciative of all the people that comment on the videos saying, you didn't quite get that right. That rule was not quite correctly done.
You didn't read Deadeye Dan's card correctly.
Yeah. Or that. I appreciate that, because, we're all in this together. We're all learning. And I'm very appreciative of the people that are more knowledgeable than I being able to share what they know. So when I talk about HeroScape and when I'm trying to promote the game as in our we do learn to plays or at local game shops in the Ohio area, sometimes thinking of Kentucky, you know, we're Midwesterners, right? So we don't mind driving a couple hours to get somewhere. Um, but I like to talk about the game as it has layers of fun, right? You have the drafting aspect of the game. That's a form of fun. You have building the board. That's a form of fun, especially if we actually had some friends over the other day, and I kind of just opened the terrain box and said, have fun. Let's just make a map.
Minions of Chaos.
And that map, it was cursed.
God, I'm so upset we didn't take a photo of it because it was insane.
But surprisingly fun to play on.
Yeah.
And then there's the actual like gameplay churn. That's a lot of fun of HeroScape. Of once you have fun learning like that there is a lot of strategy in your order markers, and like there's actually a surprising amount of depth in the game in that regards. So kind of all of that combined is my personal draw towards HeroScape and my enjoyment of it.
I have a very, very short attention span. And think like war games in general to be always look intriguing and interesting, but once you hand me a book full of rules, I can't do it. These 3, 4, 5 hour games, I can play them once. They're not my thing. So for HeroScape to have a game that there is quite a bit of strategy in it. Once you can play without having any strategy and have fun, but there is quite a bit of strategy that you can find. And also like it is easy to learn and it's not going to last forever. Like a HeroScape game lasts as long as you want it to. You can if you want a longer game, you can build larger boards, have more people, or you can do a small board with just 2 people, and it's very modular. It's what you want. I can cater it to my mood. It's like, okay, how much do I want to put up with today? And for me, that is just one of the greatest things about the game.
And I totally get that. My dad's a really type A personality. Doesn't like many board games or kind of any of that kind of stuff. Just because of all the time and rules. He's always wanting to do something out of the next challenge. But HeroScape was kind of one of those things he actively played with me growing up because it was just easy to grasp, play, and he liked the figures. Would you say there are any interests you have outside of HeroScape? Any other hobbies or passions that inspire you?
I mean, if we're going to go outside the realm of board games, I am involved in a local community theater, so I spend a lot of time there. So if I'm not there, I'm here, and if I'm not here, I'm there. So that's my 2 big things are acting and HeroScape, where I act like I don't want to destroy my husband. I do.
What would you say is one of the favorite roles or positions you've had?
Probably one that I'm currently working on. It's a show that I did a while ago, and we're bringing it back because we're taking it to a competition. And the show is called Men on Boats, and it's a semi-historical piece about the 1869 Powell expedition down the Colorado River. And I play a Scottish map maker named Andrew Hall. And it was one of the first, I had to learn to do a Scottish accent, which was more difficult than you thought. That was a lot of fun. Oh gosh, I forgot about Fritz.
Yeah, you did?
I did. We did a show, and it was like a vignette show. There were 8 different small one-act plays, and one of the ones I was in, I started the scene as a kind yet kind of airheaded Hispanic woman, and halfway through turned into a mean, shouty German doctor. That one was a challenge and was a lot of fun. And yeah, I am the accent actor, apparently. But that was a lot of fun in terms of finding 2 different characters at the same time, also having to learn some German.
Yeah, and for me, I enjoy reading I'm making my way through, trying to make my way through all of Brandon Sanderson's novels. And I actually really enjoy his podcasts as well, Intentionally Blank, that I've been listening to. But yeah, he seems to be churning out more books faster writing them than I can read them. Other than that, I love bicycling as well. I bicycle to work, or try to, every day.
So what's kind of, in the looping back around to the channel, the power of editing, I'll make this all cohesive. But looping back around to the channel, any kind of big projects you have planned or things you're kind of excited to maybe talk about a bit?
Big projects. We're planning on going to Gen Con, and we're planning on doing something that another passion of Rowan's that she didn't mention was cosplay, and convinced me to also cosplay. So Rowan's being Shiori at Gen Con, and I'm going to be Sanlin. So that's
the new Shiori, just so we're all clear.
Yeah, the new Shiori.
And I think I did mention it kind of haphazardly in our Shattered Tiles video. But I was like, HeroScape is so cool. There are so many cool model designs, and the HeroScape community and the cosplay community don't really cross, but they should. And it's something that I've talked about for years wanting to do, and I was like, this is my moment. Gen Con is my moment to go and wear a HeroScape cosplay and not have people question who I am.
Are you building your own cosplays, or do you buy them? How does that kind of process work?
I am. Adam's buying.
I'm not.
Adam's
I'm not
Amazoning.
I am cosplay finding on Amazon,
which is just as valid.
To be fair, hunting on the Amazon is pretty tough.
Yeah.
But for the longer, what are our plans? Right now, I think we're still, we started the channel end of April, right? So really, we've only been up for a little over a month now. So, I think we're still let's make sure that we're producing at least one longer form video a week. We actually released one today because that email came across with the sneak peek of Wave 2.
Adam.
What?
Renegade just gave a sneak peek of the next wave.
Oh, that's exciting. I'm already on it. So that was like, man, we need to make something about this. And we were kind of lamenting. We didn't really want to. We have a couple of videos queued up of us playing on that Table of the Giants map, but we kind of wanted to space them out so it wasn't like, this is Table of the Giants 2, Table of the Giants 3, and also give us a little breathing room to make more kind of in-depth videos, or kind of branch out our content, see what the community really wants in forms of content, because it's all a learning process for us currently.
I gotta touch on that. Your videos are so well edited and very well put together, and you'll do a great job of just developing the sort of kind of visual language for your escape games. Do you have any production or video experience kind of going into this?
So, growing up, I would definitely say my father was a big influence in kind of the photography and also
cinematography.
That word. Side of things. My dad, very hobbyist, had a video camera. From a very young age, a lot of my projects were, hey, you can write a 3-page paper or make a video. And I'm like, well, I can make a video. And then in junior high, we had a class where the class was literally taking DV tapes, reading them in, and editing sports competitions. So a lot of my kind of editing experience from a young age came from that. And I had a short stint of trying to be a Let's Play channel early back. I don't even know if they still call it Let's Plays, right? So,
When you were like 14, 15?
yeah.
Ah, crap. Maybe this will help me. What? No, Chuck Norris needs the drink. Never mind.
I was very young. I was on YouTube making that content when the ad revenue barrier wasn't so strict, where it would just pay you out at $100 increments when you made it. And I was at like $50, and then they got rid of it. And I felt a little cheated because I never got to that payout. So I would definitely say I am a hobbyist editor, and I have no like formal training. I've just done it, right? And there's plenty of YouTube tutorials out there to watch that when I go, yeah, how do I do this thing? Which was easier in Sony Vegas, but I moved away from Sony Vegas and I use Blender as my video editor.
Wait, you use Blender like the 3D modeling program? You can edit on that?
Yeah, it has a video sequencer. Yeah, that's what I use. It's free, it's open source, I love it.
So kind of diverting kind of back into the HeroScape topic. You know, Escape's coming back. I try to ask everyone this because I've been getting some really fun responses. What would you like to see come to HeroScape? You know, pie in the sky. It doesn't really have to be a fleshed out concept, but what are you looking for?
I want to see an entire line of cryptids. Mothman, the Popelic monster, I guess Bigfoot, even he's not my favorite. Champ, the Lake Champlain monster, the Hodag. I actually recently, on a whim, created a Hodag card. It's probably like not any good, but are you familiar with the Hodag?
That one is unfamiliar to me.
Okay, so it is in Rhinelander, Wisconsin. And if you want to talk about a town that makes their personality a cryptid, Point Pleasant has nothing on Rhinelander. The Hodag is everywhere. Their town website is just a bunch of random funny facts about the Hodag, and I included some of those random things in the card. Because there's one of the abilities I put on the card is called Scratch Golfer, because the Hodag is a well-known scratch golfer with stolen golf balls that he finds in the woods from the nearby golf fields. It's not called a golf field. Course! Golf course. But, like, more things like that. Like, we have our zombies, and we have our vampires, and we have our ghosts, but, like, give me the cryptids. Give me the urban legends, and because there are so many fun ones that could be something so fun. But that is something that I have been, like, for years has been, like, I want this. This is what I want. And I think that there are some customs out there. There might be. But, like, having some official game pieces and cards that are just dedicated to, you know, the weird and unusual, that is what I want.
I personally, and I think in HeroScape, and I think it might be a little too overpowered, but the ability to push or throw opponents a certain amount of distance, I think would be, I think it really needs a lot of thought to make it not broken, but a lot of HeroScape games, what does the engagement process look like? And it's like, who can snake to the higher elevation better is basically the game turn when you're engaged with somebody. Is like, oh, I'm going to go up there. Oh, I'm going to go up there. And just having the ability at some point during the activation to maybe break that up, I feel would be a fun ability. So I didn't go out and make a character, but I think that having somebody that does that would be an interesting character to field, because then it allows you to, if you have two markers on somebody, you can push them and know that you have a way to leave engagement without having to risk leaving engagement.
That's true. That would allow for more fun maps, tall maps to have some Spartan kicks off. A Spartan that just kicks people away. I'm down for that. Yeah, I actually haven't gotten a mechanical pitch yet, so I'm asking questions not like because I'm doubting you. I'm just trying to like envision how I want to see this like take form. Because I think that's a really interesting. I think there's a lot of powers that have been untapped or untouched, and I think movement is definitely something that we can see a lot more abilities based on for sure.
I was watching a HeroScape video because I wouldn't say I was a super in-depth HeroScape fan before April and really getting into the channel, but now that I'm producing content for it, I'm kind of also taking it in more and like finding and looking for things. And I was watching one, and some guy was like, "Yeah, penguins with machine guns." I'm like, "Okay, you got me. Penguins with machine guns. That sounds good."
Yeah, no, I'm Team Penguin with machine gun. Just for the how old the joke is. That's a joke that was made on the forums like 10 years ago or something. Like, probably more than that. Like it's a 2-decade old joke. Where
Oh,
people
really?
are just like anything can be this game. We have samurai as soldiers. We could even have a penguin with machine gun. The fact that they even had that concept art is a pretty neat
Oh, there's
throwback.
concept art?
It was an initial HasLab
Oh, man.
kind of thrown around as a teaser. So he's pretty cool. He's got like a spiky helmet and all that kind of stuff. I guess that's a perfect segue to kind of AOA's coming back. We've already pitched our dream unit. We're getting a cryptid that can push someone around. We're gonna combine them both together,
Oh.
and we got that in play now. But what are you kind of excited for? HeroScape's kind of being produced. It's a real thing. What are you most looking forward to in that experience?
Forcing his entire family to play with me. Truly.
That's not you want your sparkly water tiles.
Sparkly water tiles. I want my dad had like 2 or 3 of the first edition, so all of our water was always sparkly. We didn't touch the stuff that wasn't sparkly because it was lame. So seeing that they have sparkly water tiles, now there's no more elitist among us that have the sparkly water tiles, but I want them. I want my sparkly water tiles back. Thank you. No, but like just having HeroScape come back in general is very, very exciting. Looking forward to seeing. I don't know a lot about what the Vanguard edition was, to be completely 100% honest. One of my coworkers, when it got announced, said, "Hey, look, this is a thing." I took one look at it and said, "Okay, I want nothing to do with that," because it did not appeal to me. So I don't know anything about it, which is probably going to be our next coming waves. But just having it back in general is just super exciting to me, and seeing a lot of what Renegade is trying to do community-wise with tournaments and, local game stores and stuff like that. That is some of the stuff that I think is going to be really, really exciting is, having that, building the community back up, because the community exists, but it is so far spread out that it's hard to find an in-person opponent. So if we can bring in new players and build the game back up, like that is going to be, that's what I am hoping happens with Age of Annihilation and the rest of everything that is coming out, is that we are able to bring in new players that are able to also enjoy the game and just bring it back to full swing.
No, I think that's really great here. Just having the game back. It's nice being a content creator for a game that hasn't been out of production for 14 years. That's always a plus. Just kind of any final thoughts, hot takes, things I didn't ask but you'd love to talk about. Now it's kind of your time to do so.
I'll go first. I'm gonna plug our HeroScape Learn to Plays, or what we're trying to brand them more towards a community learning event. So more of a place where new players and returning players can kind of come together. Returning players can help teach new players, and new players kind of have a safe, fun experience to learn if the game is for them. And especially trying to work with game shops that aren't necessarily partnered with Renegade. to basically, I know for game shops, it's kind of hard to know if you want to stock a game, especially a miniatures game, if there's not a community to come out and play the game, because you're just going to have inventory that sits there and doesn't get sold, and then you're not kind of making revenue in that way. So I'm trying to do my best to make sure that community, it goes out and plays in places, but also, keeps the game as a whole alive.
With a burning, burning passion. I think common squads ruined the entire point of the game.
And there weren't our subscribers.
No, that's a good hot take. I have a lot of thoughts on commons, how they're too cheap. They make sense from a marketing standpoint, but from an actual gameplay standpoint, the problem. Okay, so this is going to get me on a tangent because I actually agree with you. I'm really excited AOA has.
Told you.
Like I get why we have commons, and I think some commons work. Like Morrow drones work really good. The problem is they don't balance commons at least classically, never balance commons very well. A 50-point squad shouldn't have the same stat spread as an 80-point figure and an 90-point figure. 3 attack, 3 defense, because everything's kind of balanced around the idea that Raylan's in your army. But yeah, no, that's a hot take I agree with. But I also, now that I'm painting, I also not looking forward to common squads as much, because that's just a lot more I have to do. As much as I love painting, it's depends on what 10 squads of Morrow drones will even make the hardiest man quaver.
Another one that is just kind of a pet peeve and irritates me because I don't understand, which is why in AOA none of the characters carrying guns have any range. That's just a pet peeve of mine. I think I understand why, because range can kind of be a little bit, overpowered in some instances, but also, like, they're holding guns. They should have a range beyond just a special attack. Thank you. Okay, sorry.
Those are some hot takes. I'm excited to see people's response to that, because I agree. I agree with both those takes. I think someone has to say it. You got a gun, you should have range, but range is also kind of like common. I think that's the one thing they did right. It's like, oh wait, range is really overpowered in HeroScape. We should probably make it less so.
I feel what would fix the range problem more, though, is if you have more cover terrain and pieces. Because that's another thing with HeroScape that I would love to see, is like more and I think they're trying to do it, right? They're trying to put more kind of terrain out there, but more terrain that offers kind of like partial or obscuring cover, and some rules around it probably.
Partial cover would be a good rule to incorporate in HeroScape. For like an advanced rules you could play type of deal. I'm all for that. I think those are all good. I'm looking forward to more terrain. I watched your video that was posted as of the day of recording, and I definitely think we need some more terrain. So I guess the last one we'll close out with is just, why do you make things? Why do you feel the need to create? And what words of encouragement do you have to someone looking to do the same?
Like I've said, I grew up playing HeroScape. I didn't have what one would call one of the greatest childhoods in general, so making HeroScape content with my husband, someone who I love, loves me unconditionally, is, for me, I am reclaiming that. I am reclaiming those things, the small instances of good. That is mine, and I am holding on to that. And that is really what, for me, content means. And it's actually definitely been part of a healing journey for me as well, is doing it. That's when he was like, I want to do this, I was a little apprehensive about getting into that, but Hexhalla has done a lot. In the short month, it has done a lot of good for me. Your turn.
I wanted to make a tea channel because I really enjoyed tea, and we got that's actually why we bought the tables, and we I have risers that they can go up on so that we could have like a nice thing. And we shot probably 10 minutes of that content, and I watched it back, and what was I going to talk about for 10 minutes about a tea? Like, I just couldn't. Like, I like tea, but I don't think I could do it. I'm sure there's a market out there in a niche that would love to listen to me talk about, the flavors and the aromas of the tea.
The history of Lapsang's Wushong.
And I love tea. And honestly, I would probably watch that content if somebody out there wants to produce it. I don't think it was for me to make. So out of that, we got the tables, we got tripods and stuff. And so we had all the kind of the equipment that was needed. And I think I personally was just looking for something to make content on. And the spark of basically Renegade picking up the mantle and saying, yes, we're going to take this to production. It's not going to be something that's maybe going to happen. We're actually going to put in the work to put it into production and have a community and grow it. And I looked at it as like, even if there's such a community still 14 years later of a game that hasn't had really any support. And I love the game, in my younger years. I wouldn't mind producing content for it. And if people enjoy it, because I'm a big fan of watching people play games, like video game stuff, because normally with video games, they're better than me, is why I watch it, which kind of concerns me with HeroScape, because I am not the best at the game. So maybe people will watch me and be like, you can get better. And maybe one day I will, but I'm a bit rambly. So that is kind of, if you're out there and you want to create, try.
Just do it.
Try to make something. And if the answer is a T channel that it just doesn't work, then try something else. You have the ability to create, make something that people want to watch. I am amazed when I look at the analytics of how many watch hours we get sometimes on videos. And that's a great thanks to the community that we have that watch HeroScape content. And I'm internally grateful for that. But it's amazing.
On the words of advice, I think it's important to remember that Rome wasn't built in a day. I look back to our first video to what we're doing now, and the improvement is huge. But that did not happen overnight. Like you said earlier, you're doing it one aspect at a time, and that was something that I had to remind myself over and over and over again with the first couple of videos, is that you eat an elephant one bite at a time. So having to remind myself, we're not going to look like the super polished, channel that's been doing this for 10 years because we've been doing it for 4 days. So if you're looking at your content and you're not in love or happy with it, find one thing that you don't like about it and switch that. And then find something else and switch that, and just do it video by video until you are happy with the product that you have. I think he's testing to see if he can hear us.
Can he hear us? Can you hear us? Can you hear us?
I'm just gonna keep singing.
Can you? Quick, pull out your sign language. Cookie?
Cookie.
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 Cookie want.
ADAMROWAN. That's all I got. I know how to say a lot of bad words.
Yeah, let's not do that.
I got wormy apple. That's to insult my sister.
Now you're just gonna have playful banter throughout in the middle of the interview, Rogue. You're gonna love it.
It'll be great. He'll see all the things that you have to edit out.
Oh, he's typing. What is he going to say?
Oh no. Sorry, he unplugged some cords. We'll be right back.
We can hear. Oh well, he's gone now.
He couldn't hear us.
I know, but I don't know why he typed it.
I don't
Because we can hear
because
him.
he didn't know that we could.
Oh.
Because he said, "Can you hear me?" And we said,
Yes.
"Yes."
We didn't say yes.
Yeah, we said yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like this is enough. We've talked enough. I have enough to make a video.
I'll use child as an excuse to get away from you two weirdos.
The child just comes in.
What are you? You are so bizarre. See, now he's gonna do just like a bloopers cut of us.
Maybe.
It's just gonna be.
That'd be kind of funny.